Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving right into the fascinating and, yeah, honestly, slightly terrifying reality of the modern workforce. Automation used to just mean these massive, clunky machines doing repetitive factory work, but today, the digital machines we've built are doing things we'd literally never thought possible. We're talking landing aircraft, diagnosing cancer, trading stocks. We're entering an era totally unlike anything humanity has ever seen. So we're going to explore exactly why machines are replacing human jobs and why this time around, the disruption is just fundamentally different.
So, let me ask you a pretty personal question. How long do you think it's going to take before a machine does your job better than you do? According to a 2013 study from our source material, almost half of all jobs in the United States could potentially be automated in just the next 2 decades. Now, you might be thinking, wait, hasn't automation been around for centuries? Well, yes. But to figure out why this exact moment in time is so uniquely challenging, we first need to look at how we got here.
Section 1. The old rules.
To understand why today is so different, we first need to establish the comfortable historical illusion we've all been living in. There's a pretty clear logical progression to what humans have done for a living. For the absolute longest time, the vast majority of us worked in agriculture. Then, boom, the Industrial Revolution hits, and we saw a massive shift into production and factory jobs. As widespread automation made those factories way more efficient, humans just seamlessly shifted right into service jobs. And then, really only a tiny moment ago in the grand scope of human history, the information age arrived. As we move through this timeline, innovation always seemed to have our backs.
The old rule, what we can call the innovation promise, was incredibly reliable. It basically worked like this. Innovation made human work easier, which meant higher productivity. We could literally produce more stuff per hour using the exact same number of workers. Sure, this eliminated a bunch of outdated jobs, but the absolute beauty of the system was that it always generated enough new, and usually better, jobs to keep a growing population employed. Overall, this worked brilliantly, and living standards just continuously went up.
Section 2. The Information Age Disconnect.
But then we entered the information age, and as you'll see, those old rules abruptly changed. To put the paradigm shift into perspective, back in 1979, the absolute titan of the old innovative industries, General Motors, employed over 800,000 workers to make about $11 billion. Fast forward to 2012 in the information age, and Google pulls in $14 billion while employing only 58,000 people. The auto industry transformed our cities and created millions of jobs, but those old innovative industries, they're kind of running out of steam. And modern tech giants simply won't create millions of new jobs the way the combustion engine did.
What's really interesting here is the rhythmic pattern of destruction across totally different sectors. Some argue the internet is as massive an innovation as electricity, but watch what happens when it disrupts an industry. At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster had 84,000 employees generating $6 billion. Jump to 2016, and Netflix was making $9 billion, but they did the whole shebang with just 4,500 employees. Massive new industries are absolutely booming for sure, but they're creating just a fraction of the jobs they end up destroying.
Even the digital media team that created our source material noted this firsthand. With a full-time team of just 12 people, they reach an audience of millions. Back in the day, a traditional television station with that exact same viewership would need a massive crew. Innovation in the information age simply does not automatically equal creating enough new jobs.
Section 3. Why machines take our jobs.
So why is the information age uniquely devastating to human labor? Well, human progress has always been based on the division of labor. Over thousands of years, our jobs became highly specialized. And while our smartest machines might currently struggle with wildly complicated, unpredictable jobs, they are extraordinarily good at doing narrowly defined and predictable tasks. The crucial point here is that if you look at almost any complex modern job long and hard enough, it's really just a series of narrowly defined, predictable tasks strung together. Machines are right on the brink of being able to break down those complex jobs just as well as we can, leaving almost zero room for humans to specialize further.
And then enter machine learning. This is a real game changer. Instead of just doing what they're explicitly programmed to do, digital machines can now acquire information and skills simply by analyzing data. The code doesn't just execute commands anymore. It literally teaches itself by studying relationships in the data it consumes. You show a machine everything you've ever bought online, and it teaches itself exactly what to recommend next, so you just keep on buying. Over the last few years, we started gathering data about absolutely everything. Human behavior, weather patterns, medical records, travel, workplace productivity, you name it. We have accidentally built this massive, beautifully organized library of human actions. Machines use this library to learn exactly how humans do things, and then they learn how to do them better, faster, and way cheaper.
And unlike heavy factory robots, these digital machines can be replicated instantly, entirely for free, just by copying code.
Section 4. The real-world job killer.
Okay, let's make this abstract concept terrifyingly concrete with a real-world example. There's a software company out in San Francisco offering project management software that's basically designed to eliminate middle management. When it starts a project, it first decides what can be automated immediately. For the stuff it can't do yet, it helps assemble a team of human freelancers online. It hands out tasks, manages quality. At first glance, you're probably thinking, hey, great, it's creating freelance jobs. But the software actually acts like a Trojan horse. As humans work, the learning algorithms track their every keystroke, gathering data on how they complete the tasks. The freelancers are literally teaching the machine how to replace them.
And the financial incentive for corporations to adopt this is just massive. By learning from the freelancers and automating their tasks, this specific software drops project costs by about 50% in the very first year alone. By the second year, it cuts costs by another 25%. That is a 75% reduction in human labor costs in just 24 months. And guys, this is just one example. From pharmacists and journalists to radiologists and bank tellers, fewer and fewer humans are going to be needed.
Section 5. The consumer paradox.
Which brings us to the big picture impact of all this instantly replicable self-learning code. The loss of jobs wouldn't be completely catastrophic if we were swapping them out with enough new ones. But since 1973, the generation of new jobs in the US has actually started to shrink. And the first decade of the 21st century hit a really scary milestone. It was the first time ever that total jobs in the US did not grow at all. In a country that literally needs 150,000 new jobs a month just to keep up with population growth, zero job growth is a massive red flag.
Let's look at a specific number to put this into perspective. 194 billion. Keep that in your head. That represents the total number of hours worked by the entire U.S. workforce back in 1998. Just hold on to that number as we look at what happened over the next decade and a half. The data reveals a wild 15-year stagnation. Between 1998 and 2013, output, so productivity, shot up by a massive 42%. During that exact same window, the U.S. population grew by over 40 million people, and thousands of new businesses opened their doors. Yet, the total amount of hours worked by U.S. workers in 2013 was still exactly 194 billion hours. Total zero growth in human labor hours over 15 years, despite this massive boom in population and production.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that productivity has officially separated from human labor. The rising tide is definitely not lifting all boats anymore. We're seeing wages for new university graduates actually declining over the past decade, and worse, up to 40% of new graduates are just being squeezed totally out of the specialized market, forced to take jobs that don't even require a degree. The whole nature of innovation has changed, and it's actively eroding the value of human labor.
And that leads us right to the ultimate paradox. Our entire global economy is fundamentally based on the premise that people consume goods and services. So we'll leave you with this provocative thought. If machines end up doing all the work, and human wages continue to stagnate or just disappear altogether, who's actually going to be left to do all the consuming? Are we building this hyper-efficient world of endless cheap production only to arrive at a point where literally no one has the paycheck to buy any of it? The machines aren't just coming, they are already here. And it's up to us to figure out how our society survives them.